Peace, y'all. Evolve Benton here, the Speaking for Profit strategist. And today I'm asking any questions about public speaking. I've already got 5 of them that people have put into the Profitable Speaker Circle. So I'm excited to answer those. And if folks are here live, I will answer your questions live. In order to get the question to me, what you're going to do is you're going to go over to the chat, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, and you're going to go into the comments and you are going to put your question, and I'm going to bring it up to the stage and answer it. So a little bit about me in regards to my relationship with public speaking. I actually started doing this in 2012, earlier during that time when I was working at a nonprofit organization called Penny Lane Center. And Penny Lane was in North Hills, California. I was their first LGBT advocate and trainer. I often say I was getting paid to be gay. No, I'm just kidding. I was getting paid to train the staff and so many of the amazing folks there on LGBT 101. Like, how do you talk to the community? How do you support the community? How do you show up as a good ally? And I did that for some years. And then I ended up leaving there and going to work in higher education at the University of California, Los Angeles, and also at the University of California, San Francisco. So in all of those roles that I had from 2012 to 2023, I had the opportunity to be doing trainings, development, conversations with board members, conversations with families, workshops with students, so much. And all of it came from using my voice. Before I did this professionally, I did it as a graduate student, which was dope, loved it, and had the opportunity of doing it for events my grad program was hosting at dinners up in Beverly Hills. And I was doing this, y'all, for Amazon gift cards and free dinner. That's how much I charged at that time, because I had no idea what you should charge for a speech, for a poem, to go on a stage. So one day I was at an event and someone told me that there was a fundraising event going on, and this poem that I had written was shown there because I had worked with a nonprofit organization to create this animation. And at that event, they actually raised over $1 million after seeing that. So that was one of the moments when the wheels started getting turning, where I was like, hey, people can actually utilize public speaking to make money. But the one moment that really changed my life was I had an opportunity to speak on a panel about my experience in corporate environments and being LGBT. And this is when I was living in the Bay Area. So my expenses were extremely high. And I was like, I need some extra money. And a person had reached out to the organization I was working at and was like, we need a speaker for the panel. And I remember they asked my price, and I still had no idea what to charge. And this was probably in 2015-ish. And I was like, okay, my price is $500, right? But I don't know why we all start with that. If you started with $500 before as a speaker, go and put 500 in the comments, because I know it's something that we all typically do. And the woman who was in charge of that organization told me to ask for more. So at that time, at my organization I was working at, I was getting paid $3,000 a month. And I said, ma'am, I would like $3,000 a month, because I figured if I could make my monthly salary from this speaking opportunity, we got something going. And she said yes. And that was the moment where everything shifted for me. Moving forward, later on, I started my own consulting company and have traveled the world speaking, consulting. I've written a book and went on a book tour, done a little bit of everything with it. And now I primarily support organizations when it comes to well-being and stress management, but also supporting around AI governance and ethics, and making sure that if organizations are using AI tools, that there's actual structure and trust and relationship with all of the team members around how they're going to use it, and continuing to build trust with their staff members, but also the public that they're working with. So I'm doing some cool work. And all of this started, y'all, from me using my voice. So the reason I'm sharing this with you before we get into the Q&A is, yeah, I want to brag a little because it's Leo season. Shout out to all my Leos, but also because I want y'all to know that it didn't happen overnight. And for many of you, you're hoping that this business will be a microwave business, which means you put it in the microwave for a couple of minutes and it's going to bake into a full out short rib, right? That's been smoking and sitting in a crock pot all day. It's not going to happen. You've got to actually put in some systems and some time and some labor. Public speaking has been an amazing opportunity for me, and it's given me the opportunity to have a choice. So, after doing all that great work in the corporate world, I decided to leave and run my own consulting business and start Speaking for Profit University to help other speakers do this as well. Because what I noticed about the industry is one thing, it wasn't diverse, and two, people weren't aware of how much they could make. So, not that they were being taken advantage of, but they weren't making as much money as they could. So, for today's conversation, I want to answer your questions. What are the things that you've been thinking about public speaking? If you have them, please put them in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. But let's get into our first question because I'm here for a good time, but not a long time. And thank y'all for using your most valuable resource with me, which is your time. Do me a favor, if you are watching on YouTube, I would love for you to like and subscribe. Number one, you'll get to see future videos and future trainings. But number two, it helps us to get in front of the faces of other speakers and consultants around the world. So, first question is I'm just going to bring it up on the screen. I've given talks before, but nothing paid. How do I actually start charging? I love this question. I get a lot of questions, y'all, about like when are they gonna pay me? When are these people gonna when is someone gonna call me and ask me to come and speak and they're actually gonna have a budget and they're gonna give me money, right? This is a great question. What I will say to you is the day that you start charging is the day that you get paid. The day that you start charging is the day that you get paid. So we have to say no more than yes in order to bring in opportunities. So there are several opportunities actually that came to me this year that I've said no to because either they were free or they were below my rate. And what I know is I'm attracting a particular type of opportunity and it may take longer, but I want that opportunity to be the one that I've put my labor into. And knowing you, you're probably a speaker who has a signature talk, a signature framework. You have an amazing speech. You have a great journey, a great story, something that's not only just going to impact people, but that's going to solve a problem. And you don't want to continue to give this labor out for free. So there are a few resources that we've created when it comes to thinking about how much you should charge. And I'll share a couple of them with you, and they're actually free to use. So this is a great opportunity for you to get into them. And I want you to think about it this way instead of how much do I charge or, you know, how do I start charging? I want you to think about this as a business owner and think about like how much revenue do you truly want to bring into your business? And then you're going to backtrack and think, okay, in 12 months, I have the capacity to do 10 speaking engagements. I want to make $100,000. Then that means your rate and what you should be charging is going to be $10,000. Now that's easy math, but we want to also think to ourselves, how do I build out an actual offer that has outcomes that meets that rate? Because we don't be charging 10,000 and we're not actually killing it on the stage or providing outcomes that really support organizations in creating change, saving money, making sure that they're retaining their top clients, making more money in sales, all of that. If you're doing that, then people are going to keep bringing you in. So let me show you a couple of cool tools that we actually have in our community, the Profitable Speaker Circle, which is free to join. And this might help you to think about your pricing because you can start today. The answer is you can start today. But in order to start today, I want you to have a little bit of strategy. I don't want you to just go in there with nothing. So if you go into the community and you scroll, if you go to the community and join, and I'll put the actual URL in a moment so you can see it. But if you go to school and you look up the Profitable Speaker Circle, you'll see our community. If you scroll down, we have a speaker fee calculator. So you're going to click this course. There's a video to watch as well, but click here and it's going to take you over to the speaker revenue calculator that we built. Now, this is a revenue calculator, so you've got to know largely how much you want to make, whether that's annually, monthly, or quarterly, and then it'll allow you to work back. So remember, we were talking about potentially that $100,000 that you might want to make annually. And let's say your average speaking fee is going to be maybe $5,000. When you're thinking about back end revenue, maybe you have books that you want to sell, workbooks, merchandise, or maybe you have a back end offer like potentially you're a speaker and you're also an executive coach. So people in the audience can hire you for that. Whatever it may be, you'll put your average price there. Let's say it's zero. You're just getting started. And you're like, okay, in a year, I have probably three times, let's say three, less is more, that I could speak. We're going to take this closing rate out of here because we don't want to get into that, but it'll show you down here if you're on track. So here you need 20 gigs in order to reach that $100,000, right? And you need to, your capacity is going to be probably 36 a year, and you're on track for that. Now, let's say you are like, hey, I only want to charge $750. It's going to show you here on the calculator that you're over capacity, right? Because that would take you doing 134 gigs a year, which is too much. You just don't have time for that because what did you say? You only want to do 3 a month. So it's built around your capacity so that you can start to think about it. If you scroll down, it'll also show you like revenue projections in the quarters, how many gigs you're short, and also some scenarios that you can put in. You'll also see industry benchmarks. So where is your pricing when it comes to the different industries? And that usually will help people go up in their price and be like, oh, I'm not a beginner. Let me go up in my price so that I know that I'm charging enough. So I would suggest going and joining the community and checking out that revenue calculator. Is going to be super helpful for you. And let me go on and put the link up to join the community so you can go. So if you go to www.school.com/wealthy speaker, you're going to find our community. You hit the join button, it's free, and you'll have access to that calculator. We would love to have you there, be able to continue to support you. But the main thing that you're going to do is keep the main thing by actually starting to charge today. So the next person who asks you to speak for free, you should be saying no. You should just say no. Or you can say no. However, my rate is this. And you'll know your rate because you've used the revenue calculator. Make it easy for yourself. Great question though. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being on our email list. I think that's how I got your question. I really appreciate you. So let's get into the next question. And let's see. I think we actually have a question here off of LinkedIn. Okay, cool. How to increase sales? What's your strategies? I kindly give us a little overview about it watching from the UK. Okay, cool. Welcome. Glad you're watching from the UK. I appreciate you. How to increase sales? What are your strategies? So I think that when we think about increasing sales, it depends on the offer. If you're talking about speaking and consulting, the thing that really has supported myself and several of my clients when it comes to making more money, I'm actually in one of these moments right now, right? Trying to get out a new offer, increase sales, bring in some revenue, going towards the end of the year. So what I'm actually doing right now is I'm pitching every day. That means I'm reaching out to new people so that they know about my offer and my business. We have a lot of conversations, booking phone calls. But one of the first things that we all should do in our business when we're looking to increase sales and revenue is go back to people that we've already worked with. It's a lot easier to say, hey, we did this talk Or I came in, did a consulting or facilitation for your organization a few years ago. Is there an opportunity to do it now? The other thing is that many of the people that we've probably worked with in the last 3 to 5 years, if they're not at their organization, they may be at a new one and they maybe just haven't thought of you yet. So you coming back to them and asking, is there an opportunity, could be great. That's what we call tapping into our warm leads. And when I first start working with speakers, consultants, hosts, facilitators of space, and they're like, I want to increase sales, the first thing that I'm thinking about are warm leads. So actually, earlier this week, I worked in higher education for over 12 years and actually longer than that now that I think about it. But that's, hey, the brain. I'm getting older. And I reached out to a few of my warm leads, my colleagues, my friends, and I said, hey, I'm actually interested in coming to some schools. I'm going to be in California for a few months for business. I would love to come to your campus and do some LGBT healing circles in the fall. Like, is there some opportunities? And a few people were like, yeah. So I'm getting on some calls, but these are people I've already know who've already brought me in to speak, know my work, know my integrity, and I'm hoping that those opportunities turn into revenue. So I think for you, start warm. Start with people that you've already know, that you've already worked with, because it's a lot easier to close those deals. Once you've went through your warm, then you're going to want to go to people that you have anchored in on, that are your ideal clients, and showing up in those places. So you're already on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place to get started and to build relationships. And I would suggest that you make it a strategy that every day someone new knows about your offer in your business. It doesn't mean that you have to sell them every day, because you don't want to be the person who is pushy and losing relationships. But they should know what you do, and that should come through your content, maybe writing some amazing blogs, going live like I am today. They should know what you do and how you do it. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have a follow up question, but I would start warm with people you've already worked with. And I think that that's going to be a great way to get you started. The other thing is join the Profitable Speaker Circle, which is our community. I actually post daily speaking opportunities in there for our premium and our VIP members. So if you're looking and you're like, hey, I don't have time to research, we can do the research for you. Thank you for your question. All right, shouts out to the UK, y'all, too. I was in the UK actually a month ago. Yeah, a month ago, about a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago. I had a client that actually just went through Speaking for Profit Academy, and she lives in the UK. Don't get me lying about what part, but she met me in London because that's where I was visiting. And we went out to dinner. We actually went to this amazing Jamaican restaurant. I believe it's called, I think it might be called Mother's. It's something like that. Anyways, it was so good. We were supposed to go to Cotton's. Cotton's is normally the Jamaican spot I go to in the UK if y'all are ever in the UK. It was so good. It had some oxtail, had some plantain, and got to meet my clients. So shouts out to y'all. I love the UK, y'all. I just can't drive there. Like the fact that the driver's seat is on the other side compared to the US is a little wild for me, but the people are amazing. The food is good. And I love the public transit. Love to be able to get around easily. So shouts out to you for being here, and appreciate you considering my question, listening. Okay, great. No problem. I got you. All right, let's go on to the next question. Before we go on to the next question, one thing I want to share with y'all is that we are in open enrollment for Speaking for Profit Academy. It is our 10-week cohort where we support you in building out the business development side of your speaking business, and also putting together a product that you can put out and sell, which is going to be your signature talk. So it's a great opportunity for folks who are just getting started, and already have had a few opportunities on stage. This is not for someone who's afraid of public speaking. You've got to be committed to wanting to run it as a business. And because we've been doing this a while, we've built some really cool tools. So we have a CRM, which is a customer relationship management system that you'll actually get 2 months of access to. After the 2 months, there is a monthly fee of $75 a month, but you get access to that CRM. Our team will set it up for you on the back end. And what's good about a CRM is when you're doing outreach for speaking opportunities and you need to remember to follow up, you could set it up in your CRM. Or you need to send out a contract, you can set it up in your CRM. You need to send out an invoice. You want to start selling products, books, you can set that all up in your CRM. So you can cut the cost of having Squarespace and Wix and all those folks because you can bring your website over to the CRM. So you can really run your whole business, your speaking business, for under $100 a month. And that's something that we are trying to build out. That's included within the cohort. The other thing that we're doing for the first 5 people who join is we're going to create a speaker's reel for you. So a speaker's reel is like a short video of you speaking, usually has some client testimonials that you can share with organizations so that they can see you in action. And we want them to see that because the likelihood of a big conference or a retreat or an event bringing you in is because they have a proof of concept. So we're going to give the first 5 people who join the academy, we're going to make you a speaker's reel. And we have a team of editors who are able to do that here. So if you're interested and you're like, hey, y'all, like the academy sounds interesting, I want to check it out, you're just going to go over to our website. I'm just going to put it up on the screen so folks can see it. Speakingforprofit.com. You're going to go over to speakingforprofit.com. When you go over to the website, your goal there should be to book a call with me. It's me. It's not a random person. So you'll go over to the website. You're going to click here, up here where it says Speaking for Profit Academy Open Enrollment. You'll click, and then it's going to take you over. You can see the cohort starts August 17th. And then you'll click here, Apply Now. And it's going to take you over to an application. You'll answer some questions, and then you'll find time on my calendar to book a call to see if this is a good fit for you. So it's pretty easy. It's pretty simple. Just go to speakingforprofit.com. We can talk about it and see if it's a good fit. I'm big on this being an application processed program because I want to make sure that the people who are there are meant to be there and have the most success. So we will cut off registration at 20 people. We don't want to have more than that. And last time we had less, like 20 is our maximum, but last time we had about 10, right? So we want to make sure that people get all that they need. If you have questions about the Academy, put them into the comments or the chat and I will answer. But let's get into the next one, which is, how do I get booked when nobody really knows me yet? Y'all, I love this. This is a great question. And shouts out to folks in the Profitable Speaker Circle. This is one of those questions from one of our community members. I know speakers who are making bank, y'all, and they have 300, 400, less than 1,000 followers on social media. So we have become a world where we believe that popularity is based off of like followers and numbers. But let's think about what we just talked about when it came to the speaker fee calculator and your pricing. If you notice on there, the maximum opportunities I believe that came up were 36. They said you can do 36 max in your capacity. It's not a lot. So it doesn't take hundreds of thousands of people in order for you to be successful. It only takes a small amount and consistency. So I'm always saying, like, we want to find our top 10. What are the top 10 organizations that we're not going to work with once, but we're going to work with for the next 3 to 5 years in different capacities? Because when you first go in, maybe it's one speech, and then you go back in and maybe you do a lunch and learn, right? And then you go back in and maybe do a halfway retreat. And then maybe every year they bring you in for that particular event, orientations, graduations, leadership retreats. Every year they bring you in for you to be the speaker of that. Or you get at an organization and you start moving around departments, you start working with HR, and then they realize how amazing you are. And then you're working with folks who are in the administrative side of it. Whatever it may be, you don't want to burn through those relationships. So we start off, we build relationships with folks, and those relationships allow us to grow and get people who actually know us, who are going to pay us. Because a bunch of people knowing us and not actually paying us, I don't know about y'all, but I want to be wealthy and prosperous and abundant, not famous. Fame is not the thing that I want. And for you, if you really want to be successful, it's not about people knowing you, it's about people knowing the problem that you actually solve. So after we help clients think about their warm leads in the academy, one of the first things that we're always going to do is think about your offer and how you help organizations. Your offer and how you help organizations. And the place that you're going to put that is going to be on your LinkedIn profile because you're going to be connecting with decision makers and amazing people that work at these companies on LinkedIn. And on that profile, you're going to build relationships, not just reaching out to them to say, can I come speak at your organization? Me. No. This is the way that I can help you solve a particular problem that I see you having in your industry. For instance, myself, I know for a fact because of the current political climate, LGBT folks, especially LGBT college students, are struggling. They're struggling to feel accepted. They have a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. People are erasing our stories. So that's the reason that I hit up my colleagues and I was like, I want to come to college campuses and do some writing and healing circles to support our community through the anxiety and depression that they're feeling. I want to be that vessel. I want to be that healer that comes to that campus. I'm not just going there to get paid and to do some motivational speech. It's truly a part of the impact that I want to put out in the world. And if those people who bring me in are the only people who know me, then I've done my job. So you need to make sure that you're making the people aware of you and the problems that you solve and how you're going to support on a larger level. Now let's talk strategy, right? Because that sounds big. Cool. Some people need to know me. Where do I find these people? I know that's usually what comes up. You've got to know the industry first that you want to support, at least. And then what we normally suggest and what we do in the academy is we do market research on what's happening in that industry so that when we have conversations with folks, it doesn't feel like we don't know what we're talking about. Once you know your industry and what problem you solve and your offer, then there's so many tools we can utilize to find those companies or to find those conferences or to find those retreats that you would align with. But that's going to be the very first thing that you want to get down. A lot of people don't need to know you. The right people need to know you. And the organizations that are going to pay you to bring that impact need to know you. Everybody else, it's just a popularity contest at that point. The other thing is like, I think under this question, you're kind of asking about credibility. Like, not only like they don't really know you, they don't know how amazing you are. So I would suggest that everyone who's watching this video, if you're going out and you have a speaking opportunity coming up, you need to get some testimonials. Every time, this is something I wish I did when I first got started. I think about it all the time because I had some great opportunities and I have no testimonials from there because I wasn't thinking about it. But for you, you've got me to tell you to do this. So you need to collect feedback at everything you do. Everything you do. There's a tool called Talkadot. I've got it on my YouTube page. Search Talkadot and search it on a YouTube page. You'll see plenty of trainings and information. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. It's also some information in our community about it, but it's free. You sign up for it, you can get feedback, and you can also get the emails of people in the audience who might want to stay connected with you. That's also how people get to know you because most people want to bring speakers in that they can trust. They don't want to bring people in that are going to flop or not show up or show up late. Like, you got to realize people are putting their jobs on the line. So they want to know that you're dependable. And in order for them to know that, it's going to be based off of what other people have said. So start building your testimonial tank as well, and that'll help you. But great questions, y'all. So we are doing an Ask Me Anything if you're just joining. I'm Evolve Benton, the Speaking for Profit strategist, public speaker, consultant, and a strategist for business development when it comes to speakers who want to scale their businesses and grow their impact. So today, I am answering questions from my community, but also if you're watching live and you want to put a question in the chat, I'm willing to answer it as well. We've got a couple of more. And like I said in the beginning, I'm here for a good time, but not a long time. So I want to make sure I answer as much as possible before we wrap up. All right, let's go on to our next question. Get a little water. Gotta stay hydrated. Good people. Tell me, where you watching from? And I see some people watch it, but I haven't seen you say where you're watching from. I can see how many of y'all are on here, just so y'all know. And y'all could be quiet too. It's no pressure. It's no pressure. Okay, what should I charge for a talk? Love this question. You should charge what you want to make, but you got to make sure that your offer is worth that. You should charge what you want to make, but you got to make sure your offer is worth that. So I have clients whose bottoms, right? When we talk about bottoms, it's like the lowest that I would take to deliver this offer, this speech, this facilitation, this workshop. I've got clients where their low is 3,000. I've got clients where their low is 10,000. What's the difference? The difference is how much they want to make and their offer. So my client who's probably charging $3,000 might just be going in and doing one-off speeches, more motivational, inspirational. They're going into a conference and holding space so that people feel energetic and wanting to be there. They feel at home. My client who charges $10,000 probably is doing more of a facilitation of sorts, maybe healing arts workshop, bringing people together, helping them move through some trauma or helping them celebrate a big moment. How they frame it and who they work with matters as well. The client who's charging $3,000, maybe they're working in education. Education sometimes doesn't have the same budget as a fintech company, which my $10,000 client might be charging, right, to that company. So you've got to know what your offer is worth. And then you've got to think to yourself, how much do you want to make? Because depending on where you put that offer, it could be different. I always think about this when I'm thinking about pricing as well. I grew up in LA. Shouts out to all my West Coast folks. Actually, I grew up in South Central. I was in Lisbon last month. We traveled through Europe, and I was with one of my best friends, and we got to introduce ourselves. And we're going around introducing ourselves. I told folks I'm from LA. My name is Evolve. I live in Atlanta, right? I always tell people I'm from California because California is really who I am. Some people, they hear Atlanta, they think Atlanta. I'm not from Atlanta. And no offense, Atlanta, love you. It's been great. But I'm from California. I want people to know that. Like I'm proud. So my best friend was like, what's wrong with you? What happened? You used to be I'm from South Central, now you're from LA. So I want to be clear, I'm from South Central, right? Grew up there. And I'll be back there in a few months. But if South Central is, I wouldn't say it's like necessarily low income, but it's not up there when it comes to Beverly Hills. And most people know Beverly Hills. If I talk to you about Beverly Hills, whether you're from LA or not, you know it. You know it's Rodeo Drive. You know that there's fancy stuff over there. Stuff is going to cost different. If you go to South Central and you get a white t-shirt. I got on a white t-shirt today. This is actually a Henley shirt, but a white shirt. South Central, you probably can get a white shirt for $20. You could probably find one at a beauty supply store, discount store. You go over to Beverly Hills, same white shirt, just a white shirt. It's going to be $200. So the reason I share that story with you is location matters and organizations matter. So it's important that we do the research on how much are speakers getting paid in that industry. Like, do y'all even know, like, what is the average salary of a public speaker? They have it out. Let's go look it up real quick. I haven't looked up these numbers in a while, so we'll look them up and see real quick. But you got to do your research. And there's so many tools that allow us to do that. So if we go over here to salary.com, let's use all the ads. How much does a public speaker make in the United States? The average public speaker makes $98,000, which is amazing, equivalent to about $47 per hour, $8,000 monthly, right? And highest earning potential is going to be in cities like San Jose, Santa Clara, San Francisco, of course, probably New York. They also have broken down what industries: leadership or advertising, District Columbia, right? So you can look this stuff up and see what your industry, and I'm sure if we put in like, what are speakers making in technology? What are they making in nonprofits? What are they making in all the different industries, associations? What do keynote speakers that do conference runs make? What do hosts make? What do facilitators make? The numbers are there, the data is being collected. So you should charge what you want to make. So you got to think, what do you want to make? What's your revenue goal? And then you got to make sure that your offer matches the price. Because if we're just over here charging and the offer don't match the price, then that's when we don't have integrity, and that's when we don't ask to come back. So it has to match the price. It's so, so important. So, so important. The other way you can figure that out, use the speaker revenue calculator. That'll help you as well. No problem. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here live. You have such valuable insights. Let me ask you a couple of others. Okay, great questions. Why testimonies are necessary for starters? I have got my first three clients 3 years back then without testimonies and still sometimes. So how to look at that? Yeah, definitely. This is great, right? That you've gotten your first three clients, 3 years. You haven't needed testimonials. That's amazing. But I'm sure that that's not true. And the only reason I say this, right? Sometimes your reputation is a testimonial. And you probably have a really good reputation for doing the work that you do. And that's being passed along to make people want to work with you. The other thing is sometimes testimonials are not current, but they're from the past. So there are people who reached out to me to work with me because someone in the past had a good experience. It's still about showing up and showing out. Now, in the future, things might happen in your life where you have a lull in your business. This is one of the reasons why I always preach testimonials. Let's say something happens where you got to take some time off and you got to come back to the field. In order to reamp some of that and to build relationships with new people, sometimes they're going to want to see the Carfax. I have clients who've been asked for references and testimonials to see who they really are. So it depends on the clientele, who you're working with. And if you have to take a break, you might need it. But I think it's important for us to collect feedback. And I think feedback is more than just about, oh, it's going to help me get a new client. Like it's not just a sales strategy, it's also the thing that makes you better. So when you ask for feedback from someone and you get it, it's not always positive. It's not always, oh, Evolve did a good job. I've gotten feedback that said, hey, I wish we spent more time on this, or I wish there was more visuals, or whatever it may be. And what does that do for me? It makes me a better presenter. It makes me a better speaker and a better business owner. So we always want to ask for feedback. I got my air conditioner fixed the other day. It was some drama, y'all. I'm not even gonna take y'all through all the drama, but we got it fixed. Wasn't the best experience. But do you know what they sent us right after? They asked for some feedback. They asked for a review. So we want to build that into our business. Okay. The other thing that you say, and I also tell me I charge half of the amount upfront fee and half after the work is done. Is there anything best alternative to make decision easy for clients? Okay, great question. Uh, I want to shift that last part for you. Make it easy for the client and for you. So we always want ease on both sides, right? When we're thinking about this. And I love this, y'all. So this question, it's not really a question, but it's a strategy or something that comes up. Usually you want to get paid. So most speakers and consultants, they'll ask for half in the beginning, maybe half when the job is done, even in service businesses. It, it makes it easy for the client. We want to be easy for you. So I think this is a great strategy because it gives you both something to hold, right? You're getting paid now, so you got a little money to hold you to do the work that you have to do to get to the job. After the job, the rest is done. This is probably going to be the most easeful. Now, the other thing that you got to consider with this, when we're thinking about opportunity, is that first payment probably is non-refundable, whether they do the event or not, because you don't want to have to do a lot of work to show up for the event and then they cancel it. So having some protections in your contract for that. I'm not a lawyer, just some things that I've done for myself that I would suggest. And then the other thing is you want to always make sure that you prioritize your time. So if they need to reschedule, there should be a rescheduling fee. If they need to cancel, there should be a cancellation fee. And if they need to pay you later on, there should be a fee on top of that, because sometimes that last payment after the event, when after the event, 30 days, 15 days, 2 days, sometimes people will take advantage of that. And we want to make sure that there's some consistency. So usually I'm like 2 weeks after the date of the event is the max that I want to wait for that final payment. And if not, then there should be some payment on top of it, a late fee that the organization pays. But yes, great question and great thought, right? When we're thinking about easefulness, we want to think about easefulness for our clients, always make the process easy, and easefulness for ourselves. Some organizations aren't able to always pay you upfront. It depends. And that might be a decision that you make on who you want to work with. I'm not saying don't work with organizations that can't pay you upfront, but if you have a particular revenue goal and a strategy in your business that you're going for, less is more. You want to have less. So maybe it's like, you know what, if people have challenges with that type of payment, then those aren't the people I want to work with right now. Maybe you'll have time for that. One thing that I always try to do in my business is make time to give back because I think it's so important. So when it's not money making season, what are ways that you can give back and speak at organizations that maybe can afford to bring you in at your rate? It's always great to think about. Okay, cool. So let's get into the last couple of questions, y'all. And then I'm gonna let y'all go. Thank y'all for using your most valuable resource with me, which is your time. I appreciate you being here. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're not watching on YouTube, you should go to our YouTube channel. It's called Speaking for Profit. Go on and like it, subscribe to it. This is where we go live on a consistent basis, weekly. We do it every Thursday. I say we because I have an amazing team. And sometimes I bring on some of my teammates, my clients, my colleagues to talk. We got a few interviews coming up very soon. But yeah, speakingforprofit.com. You can find all that information, but you're going to check us out on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and thanks for being here. So I'm going to answer the last question. If you have another one, put it into the comments and we'll wrap up one from the live audience. But this is the last one from the Profitable Speaker Circle. I get interest, but it goes cold. How do I follow up without feeling pushy? Good question. Good question. So this is the sales strategy question, which is my favorite. Let's take a deep breath first, because when we're thinking that we're being pushy, there's some stuff we're holding there, right? What I find is that when we're trying to think about following up and not being pushy, we probably are being pushy already. That's what I think, at least in our brains. So, what we got to realize is that life is happening on the other end of the screens. Like, you send me an email. Today, I was at the hair shop, got my hair done, so I'm looking fresh, right? The other day, I was at an appointment with my partner. Yesterday was my mother's birthday. Rest in peace to my mother. She passed 19 years ago, believe it or not. Time moves so fast. But we went out and we celebrated her, got some wine, got her favorite meal, which were some cheeseburgers. It was cool. But I was not answering emails at that time. So you send an email and there's a whole human on the other side of it having a life. So you want to give life some time, but you also don't want to fall out of the memory and out of the loop of that person. So I've got a couple of strategies, and we actually spend quite a bit of time in Speaking for Profit on this particular sales strategy when it comes to follow up and actually pitching consistently as a speaker and a consultant. So if you got questions about follow up and you're like, I need a follow up process, you should be joining the academy. We want to send and follow up within 2 weeks. 2 weeks is our maximum time. 2 weeks. So if I send it Tuesday, I want to follow up in 2 weeks on Tuesday. Now, for some pitches, we want to follow up sooner. And those pitches are particularly timely things. So, for instance, one of the things that I'm doing right now, which I'm excited about, is I'm pitching like magazines and news outlets and Business Insider, MIT Review, because I want to get articles in there around the work I'm learning around AI governance in particular. So I'm pitching all these places to get articles, paid articles that I can write. And the person that's teaching me to do this, shouts out to him. His suggestion is you follow up every 7 days. So I send it on Tuesday, follow up the next Tuesday, follow up the next Tuesday. And you send quite a few follow ups, and then you wait for them to respond. Within speaking, you want to do that as well, right? Have a 7 day to 14-day cadence. It's totally up to you. Depends on your audience, depends on the event that you're pitching for, right? Like, let's say we're pitching for Women's History Month and we know it's the month before. Maybe we're sending it out more consistently because we know the event is coming up and we want to make sure that we get that follow up before. So that's one part of it. The other part is the mindset. You're in a business to make money. So you cannot be over here not wanting to reach out to people because you don't want to be pushy. But what you're reaching out and saying is so important. So instead of just sending up a follow up that's the same message, something new should be in that. And we do support people with messaging as well, because messaging is unique depending on your offer, who you're reaching out to, who you're talking to. But it shouldn't be, hey, I'm in your inbox again. Did you get my email? No, it should be more of something new to remind them to follow up, but also to give them something else. So maybe it's not, hey, I sent you an email 2 weeks ago. Did you get it? Maybe it's more like, hey, just wanted to see how things are going. I know Women's History Month is coming up. I actually wrote an article recently on LinkedIn about the top ways that women of color can lead without stress. And I'm wondering if you want to check it out. Then when you're following up, you're asking if they read the article and they had any feedback. So we want to follow up with a gift, with something that we can actually give that leads them back to seeing our credibility, seeing our impact. And I would say like that 7 to 14 days is going to be good for you, and doing it consistently. And I'll share this, and this is a mindset thing, not being offended when someone says no or that they, didn't want your email. That's okay. Take them off your email list and move forward, because someone on there will respond and say, thank you so much. I was thinking of you, but I'm glad you brought it back. I forgot to follow up. You know how many folks I reach out to and they'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry, Evolve. I meant to follow up with your email. I meant to answer you. I got busy. My kid got sick. Different things happen. So don't take it personal when someone says no. Be okay with that. Move forward and be really excited and thankful for the yeses, and be the person on the other side of the computer that actually responds. Because one thing that hurts me sometimes is, and this has happened to me. This always happens to me when I'm on vacation. Of course, opportunities come in when you're busy. I'm off for 2 weeks, go to my email. Oh, now everybody wanted to follow up, right? So you want to be the person on the other side of the email to also respond in a timely manner. You don't want to just doing a whole bunch of outreach and not taking care of what actually is coming in. And sometimes if we get caught up in that, am I being pushy or getting a no and then reacting to it, we lose sight of the good and the positive things that are happening, and we aren't able to close those opportunities. So we want to make sure we do that. But that was a good question, because sales is interesting. Like anytime you're asking someone for something, it might feel pushy. And a lot of people that I work with, when they first start working with me, they have this fantasy that the world is going to find them and people are going to reach out to them and be like, hey, I seen you here and here and I want you to come. And, that they're not going to have to do labor to actually find opportunity. And that is a fallacy. You've got to have a system that allows you to do outreach, have follow up set up, and all of that. And that's what we support people with here at Speaking for Profit. But you can't take this stuff personal. You can't take the no's personal. And you have to learn that you're going to have to reach out because even if opportunities come to you, they're not necessarily going to be the ones that you can decide you want. They're going to be from people who are like, hey, I got this budget. Can you come in and do this thing? But if you have an ideal offer and message that you're trying to get out there and you know the audience you wanted to go to, you're going to have to bring it to them. And it's important that you know that. Appreciate you again. My mom is also watching you with me. Thank you so much for your time. Oh, thank you. And shout out to your mom for being here. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for being here. Y'all, it has been a pleasure. I really appreciate y'all. This was helpful. Please share it with another speaker or consultant who may need it. My goal is to probably do a Ask Me Anything, maybe like once a month, because I think that it could be a great space to build, but also to support y'all. Like I said, if you are interested in joining our community, I would suggest joining the Profitable Speaker Circle. It is a space that we are cultivating and building, and we have over 400 speakers in the space. It's free to join. Within the community, you'll find amazing tools. We just finished a pitch competition. So we did a pitch competition where people submitted 20 pitches and they were selected to win. I realized that last week I was supposed to tell y'all during the live who won the pitch competition, and I didn't. I rewatched it, and I was like, I didn't even share with them who won the pitch competition. So I'm gonna shout those folks out shortly. Let me just get that information up. But yeah, we do pitch competitions. We also have Q and A's. I post speaking opportunities in there, and we support each other because being a speaker and being a consultant and doing all this can sometimes be lonely. So it's also a space where we're building together so that we can continue to grow and prosper and have a community to do that. So I'm just sharing here. This was a summer pitch competition that we just completed. If you scroll down, you'll see our winners. So our top three folks, these folks don't say qualified because they're actually our VIPs. So for the pitch competition, you only needed 10 if you were a VIP in order to win. And then you needed 20 if you weren't. So Dr. Dre Cleveland was our first place winner. Shouts out to Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre actually got access to the Profitable Speaker Circle VIP for the next year. And then AJ Freeman won. Shouts out to AJ. Kudos to you. AJ won a one-on-one strategy call with me, and we have that call happening next week. And then Angela Williams won third place, and she won I Make Money with Ease t-shirt that I'll be getting out to her the next week. So shouts out to our winners. Last year, we did a couple of pitch competitions. This one will probably be the last one that we do for this year, but we will definitely bring it back in 2027. So those are a few things that we do in the circle. Like I said, it's a great space. Would love for you all to join. And I just want to thank you all for using your time, being here, being speakers, continuing to change the world. And I'm going to head on out. But if you have any questions, you can holler at us in the community. And if not, I'll see you next Thursday for our next live. All right, y'all. Peace.